Hey guys, it's Hot Mess Felicia today. I feel like I look disgusting. My hair is gross. My face feels greasy today for some reason. So I feel gross. But here we are. I didn't want to wait and record because all the emotions, all of the things that I'm feeling are now. And I felt like the story wouldn't be as fun if I told it later. So I just got done teaching and it's 11:15. I'm on my way to the grocery store actually because there's a chance that my kid is constipated. So I have to go get her some prune juice and applesauce. So that's fun. Anyways, so I just got done teaching and I teach on Tuesdays and Thursdays. I teach back to back. From 8 in the morning to 11 in the morning. So back-to-back classes. Today was peer review for my class. Now this essay that my students are doing right now, it's a researched argument essay. So it's a research paper, but it's also a persuasive argument essay. And it's their biggest project of the semester. And their final actual essay. So the next thing they're doing is not an essay, and they have another essay, but it's an in-class final exam essay. So this is like their last big thing, their last peer review anyways. So each of my classes has roughly 24 students enrolled. Obviously not all the students show up regularly, but today was especially bad. Both classes I think had 10 students in them. So we're looking at 20 students out of like 45 showed up to class today. That already irritates the living daylights out of me. Then to top it off, I told them to have a complete rough draft with them for class today. So last week on Thursday, they had an in-class writing workshop where they were able to work on their essay during class time. And I told them, because you had this guaranteed hour of work time, I really prefer for everyone to have a complete rough draft with them in class. For some reason, multiple students today, not only did they not have a complete draft, implying that they hadn't done any work on their essay since they worked on it in class, there were some students who had nothing at all. And they spent class time working on writing their essay. That irritates me. You're not getting the most out of the class. You're not getting the most out of peer review. You are wasting your time. You are wasting my time, and your grade is going to suffer. So anyways, this is like just background information. Today I want to tell you guys the tale of two students. I decided I was going to name it The Tale of Two Students. That was my inspiration. My first student, let's call her Susan. I'm not going to tell you their real names, obviously. Susan is a very difficult student, and she has been all semester long. She pays attention. She listens when I'm talking. She's not a bad student in that sense, but it's like when I talk, nothing sticks. I will explain an assignment, a really simple activity, something like create an outline for your essay, and I'll give them a template to fill out, like a fill-in-the-blank outline. I will say, do this outline, and then when I'm done, I will always ask, do you guys have any questions or comments? Or actually, I ask them, what questions do you guys have? Because I know that they have them. And she always has a question, but her question is always something really basic. So what you're asking us to do is this. Yes. Okay, so I need to do this. Yes. She confirms and clarifies what she needs to do like 5 times. Which I can understand doing it once. I have been given the impression that she has somewhat of a learning disability, but it gets really distracting for the rest of the class. They can't start their work because she's asking me a bunch of questions and I'm talking. And I've actually had students complain to me that it's distracting distracting and causing an issue for them. So this is not our first peer review. They've done peer review a number of times before. So she shouldn't have questions about peer review. But guess what? Susan has questions. Susan always has questions. So once I let them get started, she raises her hand and says, well, can I go to the library and print out my essay so you can take a look at it? And I'm like, okay, well, first, do you have something you can use for peer review? Because I want you to focus on peer review before I look at your essay. And she's like, no, I didn't get a chance to print it out. I'm like, okay, well, you knew you were doing peer review today for a week. You should have been prepared. You should have come to class prepared. But I told her, I'm like, hurry up, go print it out and come back. The library is the building right next door, so it shouldn't take that long. It took her like 20 minutes. And because it took her so long to print out her draft for peer review, she didn't get to complete peer review. She kind of sort of did peer review. Then she brings me her draft and she says, can you take a look at it? I want to make sure I'm doing it right. So I started looking at it. I made a couple quick little comments. And normally I don't, when I'm looking at a rough draft, I don't give incredibly detailed feedback because I don't think it's fair to the entire class. But I know Susan, and I know that Susan's essay isn't going to be very good, and I know that she's going to need some detailed feedback. So I start looking at the first page. There are some issues, but it's okay. I get to the second page, and I'm like, no. So I tell her, I'm like, listen, class is almost over. There's only like 5 minutes left. Is it okay if I take this with me to my next class? And when my students over there are working on peer review, I can really take a look at it. I can really give you detailed feedback. And then you can come get it from me during that class period. She's done that before. And she's like, okay, yeah, that's fine. She seemed kind of upset and she seemed frustrated. I think because she knew that me saying that meant I was going to have a lot of comments for her, which was true. Her essay was awful. One of the worst essays I have ever seen. There were a lot of grammatical issues. She had more grammatical issues in this essay, more problems with grammar than my students in my developmental writing class, my basic writing classes have. My students who are in a class specifically designed to help them with grammar and mechanics do better with grammar and mechanics than this student. So I really am not sure, to be honest, how she wound up in my class and not like in the class that's a step below to prepare her. Whatever. And then about 95% of her essay was quotes. Really, really long quotes. Quotes that didn't even seem to support her claim. And it was bad. It was really bad. So I gave her the most detailed feedback I have given a student on an essay in a really long time. In like probably 2 years. So she came and she picked it up and we talked about it. And I want to say it was productive. I feel like she understood it and I gave her enough written information to kind of clarify anything. Whee! I just turned into the store's parking lot. Sorry. Alright. I'm here to get things for my sick kid. Whee! Alright. So that's that student. Susan. She's a good person. We have had lots of issues, Susan and I. Susan and I don't necessarily get along or see eye to eye, but she's smart and she has good ideas. She's just not good at putting together the document. I'm terrified to see her final essay draft this weekend. So that's Susan. Now let's talk about Frederick, also not his real name. Frederick is a student I have in my second class of the day. And Frederick, I don't even know what to do with Frederick. I told him today that I legitimately wish that I could follow him around and just smack him every time he's doing something dumb. which obviously I'm joking and he knows that. That's how our relationship is. But he's really smart, like really, really smart. In fact, he told me today, he came into class and he told me today how his sister got accepted to Harvard for like a medical research program, which is amazing. And I told him, like, you could have got accepted to Harvard. He is smart enough to have been accepted into Harvard, I believe wholeheartedly. But he doesn't apply himself. He has no time management. He shows up late, like anywhere from 5 to 15 minutes late to every single class, every single day, since the beginning of the semester. He tells me how he shows up anywhere from a half hour to an hour late at his job and they haven't fired him. That he has a good work ethic. He does good work. But it's the punctuality. His time management is just god awful. So I was talking with him about that and telling him, you know, he wanted me to look, he had 2 versions of his essay started. And he's like, well, I didn't like this first one because I felt it was too many just facts. And I kind of like this one better. I looked at them both. I was like, these are both good. Combine the 2 of them. And we were talking, I told him, I'm like, you know, your writing is so good that with one of your last essays, I actually had to go search to make sure you didn't plagiarize because it was so well written. I'm like, you have these abilities. You're so smart. And I tell him that every class. I'm like, you are such a smart person. And then he's like, oh, well, you know, because I know that I'm not really that good at writing, I always make sure I go and try to get help and I work really hard at it. I'm like, that's what smart people do. Smart people know their weaknesses and they know where to go and how and when to get help to get better at those issues. They want to make themselves better. So like this kid has so much potential. He has so much potential. It drives me absolutely insane because his grade suffers. His college experience is going to suffer because he has no like stress management skills. He's always stressed out or freaking out about something. He has no time management skills, no organizational skills. He's a mess. He's a hot mess, but he's so smart. And he wants to be an engineer and it's like, buddy, you have these abilities. You just need to do something responsible about it. But yeah, so it was a day where very irritating. My students frustrated me a lot today. For different reasons. I'm kind of glad I'm taking Thursday off this week. Because I just can't even with these guys. So yeah, that's my teacher rant for today. I'm going to go in this store here and I'm going to get my kid some medicine for her belly and go home and have lunch. So I will see you guys later.